Now we're going to begin the speed form or biomorphic shape of our exercise. First thing we want to do is we want to construct a form using the 4 geometric shapes that we've already done. And what we're going to do is we're going to end up combining the forms together. So there will be partial cone, partial sphere, could be a little bit of cube, depends on what your form looks like. But for us, what we're after here is to do a very slick looking, almost a teardrop shape, something that looks very aerodynamic, because when they design cars, they try to make your optimal form is this teardrop shape. So we're going to start with something like that. So when we're drawing the shape, we don't want to try too hard, okay? Don't spend too much time trying to draw the line out. Just go with a natural flow. Just draw a feeling that you've got, okay? So we've kind of sketched out this rough, kind of a speed form-ish teardrop shape. Now, once I've got the form down, this form doesn't exactly tell me all the characteristics just yet. So what we need to do is we need to put a center line through it. Center line dictates left side, right side. And notice that we're drawing in a 3/4 view. It's going down this way. Now what I'm going to want to do is I need to put contour lines through it. So what I'll do is I'll just make it simple, okay? Let's just say this form is kind of cylindrical. So we'll start putting ellipses in it. First one is a skinny ellipse. Next one is a medium-sized ellipse. And the last one will be a rounder form, okay? Now, if you remember doing the hierarchy from the cylinders, if I turn this upright this way, skinny at the top, getting rounder, even rounder. So let me go ahead and clean up this form a little bit for you so that you can see what we're going to be rendering. Okay, and because everything is at the front end here is what we really want to look at. Everything in the back can just fade out, or as we say, it can just vignette away. But we want a little bit more emphasis near the front of the form, because that's where all the focus is. Now watch as I do the contour lines. I'm going to hook it around the shape, hook it around the shape, hook it around the shape. And notice that it rolls into the corners. It's not just a dead arc that stops. It actually rolls into the corners. Now that we've established this biomorphic shape, we want to try to do lighting on this. Now when I do lighting, I try to do it like we did the other shapes, diagonally. So what I'm after is I'm after a hot streak or a bright shiny streak right here. So I'm just going to lightly indicate that this is where I want my hot streak to be. So it just tapers off to the front and the back. Now, if we were looking at this form from the dead front, it would give you a, if this is 90 degrees and this thing went to the center and then came back out in perspective, this would be your core shadow right about here. Okay, so this would be the darkest part of the object. So once we have this constructed, we're going to be ready to start rendering soon. Now, when I do a rendering, I try to include a shadow. So I want the shadow to be somewhat believable. I have two options to do a shadow. I can either have it sitting on the table, or I can raise it up slightly and have it floating. Why don't we just do a sitting on the table shadow? Now, because this form is a little bit tipped up at both ends, at the front and at the back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mimic the shape, and I'm going to raise the nose and the tail just a little bit, just so it looks like it's sitting on its belly. Okay, so there you go. Notice that there's a little bit of a gap here and a little bit of a gap here, but notice that the belly section is really close to the shadow. So what it's saying is that it's basically sitting on a tabletop, kind of teetering on its belly. Okay, so if you come this far, this concludes our basic construction of the speed form. Next, we're going to be doing the rendering.